Yeah, but like Shifty said, it literally looks like you're walling when you're using it. So like it's kind of
you're getting looked at from 80 meters away. Like whoa, like you could tell like someone's games like when they hear something, you could tell by the way they react. If you're reacting to me 2-3 buildings down, you got something, bro.
That was the Pullze Check podcast with a bunch of competitors determining what should be GA'd or banned from competitive play. And the most premium gas my audio tune can get is getting GA'd by most of the top players in the game.
Also, did his job a little too well.
By the way,
I just wanted to take a second and thank you all for the love on that video. It has exploded. The channel has exploded. We have surpassed 25,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because we're going to keep the tech videos coming. Today's video is going to be short, straight, and to the point. I'm just going to go over a couple of changes that they noted on the Season 1 Reloaded patch notes after that nightmarish update, as well as talk about the plans with the tune moving forward and kind of describe the tune for y'all because there's a lot of misinformation going around. That may have been one of the roughest Warzone updates, but between a couple of the games that I did manage to get in through all of the bugginess yesterday and some of the games that I played offline today, I was able to test some of the patch notes. And I think the most important thing in the patch notes is something that's not implemented yet. They say they are planning on implementing changes for the parachute audio. And between my Twitter comments, my YouTube comments, and my Twitch chat, that seems to be one of the biggest complaints, and I experience it too. You'll have a 3-stack or a 4-stack hit a zip on the map, land on you, and you don't hear anything until you're getting shot in the back. So I will be really interested to see what updates they bring to this in the future. The first point that they make here is about audio occlusion. Now, if you don't remember from previous videos, audio occlusion is how a sound or how much of a sound transfers through or around an object on the map, whether that's a plywood wall, several floors of a brick building, what have you. They say here that they've made general improvements across all of Urzikstan, and you'll see this improve with every season. Buildings will get better, hearing people around walls will get better, under bridges, those kind of things will improve as they fix map exploits, and they just do a fine pass of the map. The next thing that they note that they have changed is the plane audio. And I definitely noticed this both with stock audio and my audio tune when you're infilling into a match. I mean, most of the time I have this muted anyway, but it is nice that they are paying attention to those kind of comfort sounds, because if you're playing for a long time, you hear that a lot, and it is one of the loudest sounds. I also think that the planes that drop loadout in the game and the planes that drop cash drops in the game have also been made a little bit quieter, especially with the audio tune. That's something that has been loud in the past. The next point is about music. I mute all of that, so I don't really care. The final note that they make is about allied sounds or friendly sounds. They've reduced the volume, they say, of friendly slides, jumps, and lands to better distinguish between friendly and enemy behavior. And in the limited amount of testing that I had random queuing, I noticed a big difference. It's not something I can really tell by watching other streams, but it seems that the quality of friendly sounds is thinner, meaning it lacks a lot of the bass that enemy footsteps do. And I think that's a really fair balance. I don't think you should not hear your teammates, but I do think it is good to clearly be able to tell when it's an enemy and when it's a teammate. And this slight distinction, I think, should help a lot with given a little bit of time to adjust to it. There have also been a lot of questions and I think misconceptions or just general misunderstanding of how this whole audio tune works. The whole strength of it is that you have a device that is configured as a 7.1 surround sound device. What this ultimately does is leads the game's sound engine to produce a less crowded mix. I started doing some really deep dive audio research, and there's this thing called relative dynamics. Long story short, audio cues, when produced procedurally by the game engine, can step on and get in front of each other and mask each other. And I think that's a big problem of what's happening. So we can get around that. Now, I could tell you all to buy a piece of hardware, which I am researching. I have found an amp DAC alternative that would remove the need for Voicemeeter and the hi-fi cable. So if you want to see that video, let me know down in the comments below. But the goal is to create a device on your PC that is true 7.1. Now, some people have motherboards, some people have DACs that are capable of that. It all kind of varies. I have bought 4 or 5 different types of DACs to try to find one that really works for 7.1. And it's a mixed bag. So the most consistent way to do this for everyone is with a virtual cable, as you see here and as we did in the original video. That is a key component. Another component is having loudness EQ on it. For some reason, Call of Duty and a lot of FPS shooters, this dynamic compressor that loudness EQ works incredibly well. So that is really the strength of it. You could achieve similar results by having a 7.1 surround sound device, like an AV receiver if you were a theater nerd, or a DAC. There's all kinds of gamer headsets that have software that suppose they do it. The problem is, does it really integrate with Call of Duty? Again, my goal was to produce this for everybody, so we find another open source tool, Hisuvi. Hisuvi just so happens to decode surround sound from the hi-fi cable in a way that benefits us competitively. By turning down the front channel, you're able to mask or turn down your gunshots and declutter the audio mix. It's super strong for hearing people run up on you through steps on top of a building or a ladder while you're on a rooftop. Now, a note about the front channel. I've seen people say, watching people's streams with this, it sounds terrible. There are options. 7 is simply the most powerful broken level. If you wanted to run this at 100, that would be better than running stereo in-game. While you'll still hear your footsteps and your gunshots, the amount of audio cues and the amount of space created in the mix and the things you don't miss if you're running this 7.1 cable is really, really OP in the game. Stack that with loudness EQ and you're hearing pretty much everything. Now, turning down the front channel allows us to cheese it, of course, but if you're worried about your viewer experience and you're a content creator, by all means, continue to use the tune. Just adjust that front channel up till you find a balance of what chat enjoys or your viewers enjoy and what helps you competitively. Where does Hisuvi run? It doesn't. It's simply a configuration. It's a set of settings that are saved to this line item here in Equalizer APO. Now, Equalizer APO adds audio processing objects, APO, which is a Windows thing, to Windows. In fact, your motherboard does that when you go to the device and you choose enable or disable audio enhancements. All of those are APOs. Usually they're like karaoke, jazz, rock, EQ on your motherboard software, stuff that we would never use. So I've taken parts of what motherboards have done in the past and we're using it very precisely for competitive Call of Duty purposes. I know this can start to feel like cheating to some people that may not think critically, but this is just very precise audio tuning for a certain game. Equalizer APO installs on your PC, adds those audio processing objects so that what you configure in Configuration Editor applies to the device that has Equalizer APO installed on it. And in Configurator, that is the device that has the check mark. Like I said in the video, this is the hi-fi cable. It's got to be checked 4 times here, and it's got to be LFX GFX. The fact that that is applied means that these effects in here are applied to that device. So why do you need Voicemeeter? Voicemeeter is what lets you listen to that cable. That's a virtual cable. It's not plugged in anywhere. There's a lot of software that create virtual cables. If you're a Sonar user and you've used SteelSeries GG, that creates a bunch of virtual cables. This is no different. We're only using the virtual cables for very specific purposes. When you add ArtTune here, Voicemeeter is saying, okay, I'm gonna take this hardware device and output it to where you wanna listen it to. And for me, that's an optical port that's going to my Go XLR. If you plug your headphones into the headphone port, it could be another Realtek device. If you're using Astros, it could be the Astros game device. It really just depends on your hardware. And what's happening is when you play sound on this device, it comes out over the hardware device you've chosen. By default, Voicemeeter adds another device. This device is Voicemeeter input. And as I talked about in the video, this is no audio effect. So if people are playing competitive and you choose this as your output device, whether that be in Windows or in Call of Duty, this will have no audio effects. And how can you be sure? There's no loudness EQ on this device here. And then in Configuration Editor, under playback devices, it tells you what devices have Equalizer APO installed and what devices can be affected by it. you don't see Voicemeeter here. So for competitive players or for the casual gamer that just wants to hear Discord, your web browser, or in-game comms unaffected, this should be your default device. Hopefully that clears up a lot of your questions about what came up after that initial video. I personally have stopped using Voicemeeter. I have moved on to using Wavelink because I have a Stream Deck Plus. As I touched on the previous video, this is a great option. That will be the next video, how to set up the audio tune inside of Wavelink. As I teased earlier in the video as well, I do have sitting on my desk a game DAC that provides a separate chat channel and a game channel that is 7.1. Now, does it sound as good as the virtual cable over optical for me? No, but it is something that you can buy, and like I said, it will reduce the applications to just 2. You will only need the equalizer APO and Hisuvi, because this DAC also has loudness EQ enabled on it. So if you want to see any of those videos, let me know which one you want to see first down in the comments below. Like the video because it really does help us out, and I will be live a lot over on twitch.tv/art_is_war, playing the game, trying to get some reps on controller. We will be doing tech Q&As once weekly to try to field some of your questions. The next one will be Saturday, this Saturday, January 20th at 5:30 p.m. EST. So make sure you join the Twitch chat. Then you can ask me any questions that you have. And until the next video, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.